So I'm with Graham here from Monigram Cafe here in Cambridge, Ontario in Canada. And we just had a Cafepreneur here. And the subject today for Cafepreneur was Go Global. So we ended up having a Cafepreneur with Brazil. Tecnopuki, to be exact, is a tech hub in the south of Brazil. So it's an exciting time for entrepreneurs here in Canada. And Graham has been on his entrepreneurial journey now for how long?
For about 5-6 years now.
How did you get into it?
Well, Monigram is founded, the name comes from my wife, Monica, and me, Graham, Monigram. That's how it got started.
It. Very good.
And we were both following fairly traditional careers. I was working in IT, project management, internet company kind of stuff. Monica was mostly in pharmaceuticals and sales and working in a pharmacy. And as the last place I was working for started to slow down, we started to think about what we would do next in life. And I really didn't want to go back into a cubicle in a more traditional environment. So we started thinking about what we could do in terms of hospitality, and that kind of started us down this path. Everywhere that we looked at to think about doing a restaurant or a wine bar or anything else like that, I was talking about where I maybe could fit a small coffee roaster. I was roasting coffee in the basement at home. I'd taken a hobby a little bit too far, perhaps. And finally she turned and said, why don't we just focus on that part, the roasting of coffee? And that's where it started. We found this space. It was a good space to have a coffee roaster set up. And 5 years ago, we sold our first coffee, and it's gone well since.
It's gone wild since.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And have you noticed recently in Canada, especially in this region, in the KW and Cambridge area, have you seen entrepreneurs really taking off and from non-traditional corporate company?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're seeing new businesses start in all sorts of interesting locations right within Gulf. We've got a huge tech support startup sort of culture happening in Waterloo as well, which is not so very far away. So people coming into even tech company roles in a startup capacity out of non-traditional paths, maybe not even finishing university before they've started a small company, test some ideas and have employees within a couple of years.
Wow.
That's fantastic to see.
Amazing.
And everything about the changing culture of people wanting to shop more locally, understanding the value in the maker craft side of things, everything from craft beers to coffee roasting to handcrafted products and arts, that's causing entrepreneurship to boom in the region, I think, much like it is across Canada, but it's going well here.
Yeah, awesome. And speaking of global today, I've noticed a lot of your coffee beans are from all over the world.
Absolutely.
Can you expand on how you explored all the different beans in the different countries there?
Well, there's lots of ways, and we probably didn't understand how many people we would meet directly from farms in some of the producing countries when we started this. You can't grow coffee in Canada.
Yes.
So you're immediately looking outside of Canada to source your beans. And we did our first purchases through what we would call a certified direct partner, sometimes in the States or Canada. But within weeks of being open, and in a couple of cases before we even opened, just because we had our sign up and people knew we were coming, coffee producers would reach out to us. So in one case, I have a coffee from Colombia. Chalo Fernandez is the producer. He and his two brothers took over the grandparents' farm in Colombia, changed it to a more premium coffee that was being grown. Chalo lives part-time in Canada, part-time in Colombia supporting the farm. And Chalo carries coffee in on his shoulder and puts it in my store.
Amazing.
I didn't expect to meet Chalo before we started this, right?
Amazing.
I have some Nicaraguan coffees here. Jamie from Greenhaven Imports is from Nicaragua, came to Canada when he was young. His dad is still in Nicaragua and has hooked him up with some of the top producers of coffee in the north part of the country. So Jamie spends part of his time during the year back in Nicaragua, part of the time here in Canada with his new young family, selling that coffee.
Nice.
And when we buy it, or when I visit the farms that I've been to in Nicaragua, and we're negotiating prices directly with farmers, it makes a big difference in those producing countries in terms of what's fair and what's equitable for the farmers. So that's the kind of buying we're proudest of.
Wow.
But so far we've got that kind of relationship in a couple of South and Central American countries, and also one in Ethiopia.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
guys have a wonderful establishment here.
Thank you.
Any advice that you have for the entrepreneurs in our region that are just starting out?
It's a tough step to take, to decide to start your own business. And part of me wishes we had done it sooner.
Yeah.
And it's a tense moment when you finally decide to put your all in, and you're gonna have to put your all in to whatever it is you're gonna start. Test out your ideas, talk to people about them, but trust your own judgment. If you want to do something and you believe in what you're gonna do, if you sincerely can follow through on that, you're probably gonna be okay. You're always going to have some people who say, that's too risky, I don't think that will work. And you have to understand why they're saying it, and see whether or not there's information in what they're saying that could advise you and how you might change what you're gonna do, but don't let them stop you.
Awesome. Very true, very true. Well, thank you for hosting us here today, Ideality and Atoms Integrator and Techno Pookie from Brazil. So thank you so much for your time and your delicious coffee.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks, Graham.
Cheers.